Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. I've been getting some calls last week on some new agents that have started working with us who are buying leads, and they're having some issues getting to the doors. And these are somewhat new agents, been in the business for a while. They say they've never ever really been taught how to go to a door. Now, is there really any teaching to go to a door? I've ridden with, I'm going to say probably 100 agents. And everybody has their own style. What may work for you may not work for him. I've gone to a door with an agent. He's about 5'6", 5'7", had a book this thick under his arm, knocked on the door, opened up the screen door, knocked on the door, held the door open. Lady says, "Come on in." Rode him later that day, and it didn't work. I agreed with another agent who stands right at the door, and he's a big guy. He got into some houses, and he didn't get into other houses. So what I'm going to tell you today is an analysis of what I have put together, of writing with agents and actually trying it out for myself on what I feel is the best way for me to get into a door. Now, if you go to a door and it's in an apartment complex, well, hold on, let me back up. You go to a door, and to me, when you go to a door and you stand too close to a door and you're not announced, they have no idea you're coming, you knock on the door and you're standing there. An average woman, let's say, is 5'2" to 5'5". An average man is 5'6" to maybe 5'9". And you get a big guy, 6 foot tall. I'm 6'1". We got agents who work for us. One gentleman in particular who's 6'4", big guy. So we were talking, and he said, "Joe, I never really thought about that analogy. When you go to a door, the person has to look up at you, and they could become intimidated because, first of all, they don't know you, and vice versa. You're a stranger knocking on their door. What do you want? And now you're there with a bunch of papers. You got a briefcase with you. You're pulling your backpack. You've got your hat on because the sun's outside. So what happens is that you actually end up throwing a negative vibe towards that person because now they're not comfortable. So what I started doing, since I'm a little bit big, is I decided, what about if I stand back a little bit further from the door? They can still hear me no matter how far back I am. So for me, my comfort zone is about 10 foot back from a door. I have agents tell me, "Joe, why do you want to stand back so far?" I want to stand back as far as possible to where I do not intimidate or make that person feel uncomfortable by me, a stranger, at their door. You've got no idea what they heard on the news, what they read in the newspaper, what their neighbors said, what their family said about something that happened. So instead of me getting up too close to them and making them a little bit nervous, I decided to step it on back, because they can still hear me from 10 foot back. I get into more doors now because of that. Now, do I get into every door? No. Sometimes people don't want to see. You're not going to get in the door no matter how good looking you are or what cologne you have on. There's certain people, no matter what you do, you're not going to get in the door. They could have had a bad day. They could have had an argument with one of their children. They may have loaned their brother money and the brother didn't want to pay them back, so they're in a bad mood. So if you go to a house and you can't get in the door, that does not mean tear the lead up and throw it away. That means set it off to the side, visit them again. We have no God-given idea why they didn't let you in the door. Now, when I go to a door, all I carry is a pen in my shirt, my badge that gives me a little bit of credentials on who I am, makes me look important to that person. They think I'm somebody of an official capacity because I've got a lanyard with a little piece of plastic with my picture on there. And most of the time what they're doing, they're trying to see, they're staring at your little badge to see who you are as you're talking to them. I carry no briefcase. I carry no backpack, pen, badge, and my leads. And I like to carry 10, 15, maybe sometimes 20, 25 leads with me. And the reason is that I want them to feel or to see that I'm very busy. Because you're going to have people say, I don't have time, today's not a good day, why didn't you call, why don't you set an appointment? I hear it, I listen to it, but when I'm there, I'm on a mission to get to that house. And the reason I pack light by bringing nothing with me is the mere fact is that I don't want them to feel I'm a salesperson to sell them something. To go back to what I said earlier, you have no idea who was at the house before you. Could have been a rude person, could have been somebody with all this stuff, walked in, didn't let them go, insisted on them buying something, could have put undue pressure on them. So my thought process is, what can I do to alleviate what's behind that glass block that I cannot see, that they're holding in front of me saying, Joe, you can't come in because this happened to me before. Nothing, no briefcase, no nothing. Knock on the door, come back 10 feet. Sometimes they'll talk through the door. When they talk through the door, I play a little bit dumb that I don't hear them, okay? I'm looking around, I got the leads in my hand, looking at my watch to see what time it is, and they're saying, who is it, who is it? You can only do that for so long. I'm looking at the watch, I said it's 10:07, they're knocking on, they're asking me who I am. What do I do? So, if they say it a couple times and they do not answer the door, I said, is there somebody home? They go, yes. So hopefully they have a window next to the door or a window, glass panes on the side of the door. Before I show them the card, I'll walk a little bit closer. I said, Mr. Jones, you recently sent a card in wanting some free information. Sometimes they'll open the door. Most of the time they're going to ask you, what is it about? Either I'm going to tell them at the door, is some information you wanted in regards to Medicare, filing expense, or some health insurance that you sent a little postage paid card in, and I'm here just to give you the information. Sometimes they'll open the door, sometimes they won't. If there's a window next to them, and they're being hesitant to not open the door, I said, may I show you the card through your window? And they normally say yes. So I walk up there, again, because now they've already moved quickly to that glass, lifted up the blind. So I don't want to move too quick. Again, they're in the house. I don't want to make them feel uncomfortable. So walk to the door, show them the card. Can you read it? Yes. I said, well, you see your signature? You put your phone number down here. Do you mind if I come in for 2 minutes? To me, it's a 50-50 shot whether you're going to get in, okay? A lead is an opportunity. It's a reason. It's an excuse. It's just something for you to get to speak to somebody. No matter if you're in the window business, if you're in the roofing business, no matter what business you're in, a lead is only an opportunity for us to either call a client or to visit with them. There's nothing said in signed, sealed, and delivered stating, I bought a lead, the people want to see me, they want to buy. It doesn't go that way. What goes is how smooth you become, how relaxed you are when you're at the door, how non-confrontational, non-aggressive your voice is when you're speaking with them. Remember, you are a stranger at their door. They have no idea you're coming if you're out cold knocking, okay? Now, I'm going to go to second base real quick and come back. If I'm going to a house and it is on the bottom floor, a regular house, I will take just the lead with me, just their lead in the house with me. Because I don't need any other leads. They've made an appointment with me. I don't take a briefcase, I don't take nothing. I'll tell you what I do when they want information in a minute. When I'm out door knocking, and they tell me they can't see me today, or today's not a great day, I should have called to make an appointment, I only make appointments, I don't do this, I don't like people come to my house, I apologize. I said, I'm sorry. I said, I'm really, really, truly sorry. I was right around the corner visiting with some other folks. I tried calling you and you have not answered. So I thought it was only right for me to come by and at least introduce myself to let you see that I have the card that you sent in. May I hand it to you? 90% of the time, they'll say yes. They'll say yes. Maybe 95% of the time. Again, I walk up there with all the leads, and I have the leads highlighted. Where if it's got final expense, if it's got life insurance, if it's got burial insurance, if it's got free information, I'm going to highlight that there to where they see the highlighted spot. I don't want their eyes going everywhere. I want to help them go to a certain spot on my lead to reinforce why I'm there, to give me an advantage to walk in. So I hand it to them. Now when I hand it to them, I'm going to go back about 8 feet now. I've already broke the ice. I'm not going to go back 10. I'm going to be a little bit closer now. They're going to look at it, sometimes like deer in headlights, give you some unforsaken reason why they can't see you. And I sit and say, ma'am, I said, you're here now. I tried getting a hold of you. I'm just doing my job. All those people I need to see today and tomorrow morning. I said, I'm extremely busy. And I said, I just want to do my job. So in the event my boss calls, you can tell him I answered all your questions. 60 to 75% of the time, that'll get me in the door. Okay? But again, I'm talking to them relaxed. I'm not coming off as being a little bit aggressive. Taking about 4 or 5 Valiums just to relax myself. So when I'm there, slows my speech down. They'll say, okay, I've got to go to the doctor, but I can give you 10 minutes. I said, that's fine, thank you. They'll usually hold on to the leads. The leads aren't going nowhere, so I go in the house. Now, one example. Your other example is going to be, is that they're going to sit and say, what's this about? You're going to hand it to them, and they're going to go, oh, yeah. This is something I actually wanted information on, okay? From there, I start walking a little bit closer slowly, and I'm kind of wiping my feet, which is the international call that I'm coming in the house, okay? And you just keep on walking, let them hold the leads, okay? Our game is to get into the house. You guys may have a total different or somewhat similar yet different way to do it, and it works for you, continue doing it. This is something I'm talking about that works for me, that I've seen other agents do not do, and they're doing what I suggested now, and they're getting into many, many more houses. Okay? A lot of it has to do with the area you live in. I've worked before in Chicago, a little bit of a different situation than living here in Tampa, Florida. I've worked in North Carolina and South Carolina, Georgia. People are much more laid back with that southern drawl. Come on in, honey, and I'll give you a glass of sweet tea. So every area in the United States has a little bit of difference to where you got to mold it to what works best for you. Now, I go into a house. I ask them, where would you like for me to sit? They'll say, sit here, and they'll sit there. So let's sit and say, we're sitting on the couches. I'm sitting here, she's sitting here. Going over everything, talking. Say, have my paper back so I can make some notes. They go, yes. So I'm making notes, your date of birth, blah, 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 all the warm-up stuff that I write down. Eventually, you're going to tell them how the program works, the value of the program, the burden it's going to relieve, how simple the program is, how inexpensive it is. You have got their curiosity so high, they're going to ask you, what does it cost? You know, how much does this cost? What do I get? At that time, I ask them, may I go to my car to get that information and bring it back to you? They're dying to know what it costs. And they say, sure, go get it, go get it. Now, when I come back, I ask permission May I sit next to you so I can show you the paperwork? I've never had one person tell me no. Okay? Now, if I'm a little unsure if I'm going to be able to do it because of the conversations we're having, maybe a little standoffish, listening to me, not getting a lot of interaction in the conversation, I may ask her, I said, man, may I sit next to you? But I said, I don't want your boyfriend to come here. Will he get mad at me if he comes in and sees me sitting next to you? That kind of breaks the ice. Do I do that on everybody? No. It depends on the situation. I want to sit next to her or I want to sit next to him. Okay? I want to be close now. I want to be their son, their nephew, their uncle. I want to be somebody that they feel close to. I want them to feel the energy I've got. Okay? Now, agents told me, Joe, why don't you go sit at the dining room table? Well, when I first got in the business, that's how I was trained. Go to the dining room table because that's where business takes place. And it is. Okay? Yet, to go back to them being hesitant on you coming into the door and that big old glass block that you can't see, I don't know who was there before me at that dining room table. Could have been a water company, could have been a roofer, could have been somebody. Your local vacuum cleaner, door-to-door sales guy. So in my mind is front door, travel light, where I don't look like a sales guy or even try to sound like one. I don't want to sit at the table because I don't want them to have and revert back to a bad incident they had at the dining room table. And granted, they could have had a bad incident at the couch, but I got to sit somewhere. So if they say this at the dining room table, that's fine. I try to align myself to where we're either side by side, like head of the table here, or side by side. Because I want to be close to them because they're inviting me where to sit. And I always ask, may I sit here? When I go through this process and I do it over and over and over again for the years I've been in the business, to me, I feel comfortable doing it this way here. I sit where they want me to. I ask, may I sit here? I always speak with them with a conversation. I don't want to be the commander in chief and sit and start talking. I want them to be involved in the conversation. The more conversation you have with that person inside the house, the better it is. Outside, I want to keep it as simple as possible. I don't want to sit and talk about the weather, the price of eggs in China, and what gasoline costs. I don't want to go there. All I want to do is whatever I can to get into the home field. Okay? I want to get inside. I've talked outside on the porch. I've even written an application in a car because there's a couple, 3 guys living together, and there's one guy that wanted to know what his roommates were doing. We sat in the car, wrote an application. Hood of my car, the trunk of my car. I've sat everywhere. When I got into business, I thought that would never happen. I thought business only took place at the dining room table. Business takes place where you make them feel most comfortable. They don't want you to come in the house. Say, I don't want anybody in my house. That's the problem. No problem. If you like, we can sit right outside. I don't care if it's 150 degrees in Tampa, Florida. So, man, if you want, we can come outside and sit down, and I give the information right here. Written business right there. Get back in my car soaking wet. Yet, the name of the game is to give the people the information, let them digest it, let us talk about it, and for them to ask you, how much does it cost? You got the soft hook in them. From there, that doesn't mean be like a lion and tiger and start pulling them around. It's kind of like doing it real slow. Just bring them in real slow. It's kind of like when you go fishing. When you go fishing, you throw that rod and reel out there, and you get a little bite. You don't pull it back real hard because you can rip the doggone hook out of the fish's mouth. You give it a little nudge just to set it, then you bring it in slowly. Come back slow, bring it back in. Same thing you do. You let it out sometimes, you bring it back in. A conversation with your client will eventually lead into the curiosity of them wanting to get more information from you. So, with that said, Let's stand back a little bit further from the door. The taller you are, the further back I recommend to step. When they ask you what is this about, have your leads highlighted already. May I hand it to you? Yes. Come back about 8 feet. Hopefully give you the green light to come in. From there, ask them where they would like for you to sit. And from there, do what you do best. Give the information and have them buy something from you. Okay, guys, make it a great day. If you got any questions, give Jay a call. We love you. We appreciate them. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.